Hello, hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Rachel and today we're talking all things brows. So I'm going to walk you through how I shave, shape, trim, and fill in my brows. So I hope this is helpful. I hope you'll stick around, hang out, keep watching, and I will jump right in. All right, we are going to be getting very close today. I'm hoping the setup allows for this and allows for you to see my brows. We have the new mic situation, but the new mic itself will not be here until later this week. So we're going to get through this as we can today. I am projecting, but a couple of people have actually requested this, and I'm very excited to film this because even with my family and friends, usually one of the questions that they ask is, how do I maintain my brows? How do I fill in my brows? And I am hoping that this is helpful for a lot of you from a standpoint of, as you can see, I do not have a lot of brow hair, and what I do have is very blonde. And interestingly enough, it is not thick, but it grows long. So we're gonna go through my kind of, I would say probably monthly maintenance. I don't necessarily have too much to clean up today, but it's always nice to kind of stay ahead of the curve. So some things that you will need for today, and we'll get into kind of details on why. The only products I'm going to be using today are mini scissors, a spoolie brush, an eyebrow razor or a facial razor, and then an eyebrow pencil and an eyebrow gel of your choosing and the color of your choosing. So let's go ahead and jump right in. So first, while I explain to you why I do this the way I do, I'm going to brush up all of the eyebrow hair so we can kind of see what we're working with here today. And this will kind of give you an idea. So if I get close enough, I'm really hoping that these blonde hairs show up on camera. What I mean by my brows grow very long is if I brush them up, you see kind of they're getting up to here lengthwise. When I brush them down, what happens with me is you see all of this darker hair and fullness here, which it's because those hairs are so long, they're like folding in on themselves. It's not that I actually have a lot of hair here, but you'll see I'm kind of sparse in this inner portion and then on my tails of my brows. So we'll address some of that when we fill them in, but when I shape them, what I like to do is brush all the hairs up as I did before in this front section, mostly because that's where mine do a lot of length, and also this kind of tail area gets cleaned up more so with the razor, but I like to brush them up. I'll do both sides here. And trust me when I say they get long, like this is mild. Usually they're much longer and it looks really crazy when I do this, which is sad because you'd think that'd be perfect for fluffy brows, but I don't have the thickness to do it unless I draw a lot, and I don't really like to do that. So I'm gonna grab a mirror here. And what I do once they're brushed up in this position is I'm going to take my mini scissors, which these are Tweezerman. It came in a kit with that mini spoolie brush. I will link it down below, but I will go and just anything that I see that's kind of egregiously above that line, I will snip and then brush away. And then I do this a couple of times, honestly, just to make sure that I get the hairs that are really long. So if you can see there, and I like to cut against the hair because it helps them kind of stay in the place that we brush them up to. Oh, that was a fail. Also, I am left-handed writing, but I cut right-handed, so that's why that just pulled. Anyway, so once I did that for a second time, it looks pretty good. You can see they're mostly all one length, minus this one goofy one right there. So I'm gonna grab that. There you go. And then I'll just take the spoolie brush, kind of wipe away because some of those brow hairs will stick around, and kind of brush it into place. And I am hoping you can already see a difference, that this looks more manicured than this one, even if I were to brush them like that. I'm hoping that you can see the difference, that this side looks kind of more cohesive. There's not like one dark spot like there is on this side. If you can see, like, you can see that there's a lot of extra hair right here. So we're going to do that on the other side now. Got my hairs brushed up, and again, I'm just going to go in and trim those. Next time, maybe I'll do this again on camera when they're like much longer, but I did want to do this because of the next part. So that kind of takes care of helping us even out these sides. And honestly, sometimes I'll even take my finger and do that. And if anything's sticking out that looks crazy, like that one, I'll go in and clip it. There we go. That addresses that. So for me, I don't really need to clean up a lot here. So your brow shape, if you listen to the experts, should start at the edge of your nose, arch if you were to take an angle from the corner of your nose to the corner or the middle of your pupil. So there's your arch. And then the end of your eyebrow should be from the corner of your nose past the corner of your eye like this. That is a roundabout shape. There's a lot of videos on here for that, but we're gonna try to not make this video an hour long. So I don't really do anything to the natural shape of my brow. The only real shaping that I will do is clean up anything underneath the arch of my brow, or this eyebrow. I don't know if you'll be able to see this. My hair is so light. It grows kind of like, instead of just a straight line, it starts to grow up this way into my hairline, whereas this one is like a much cleaner line. You can kind of see there. So I mentioned in my last video, I do not like waxing. It is not for me. It hurts. My skin gets irritated, and also threading hurts like a bee. So I don't do those. Instead, I use a small razor like this. I will link again these exact ones in the description box. I like these because of how small they are and how easily they fit around the brow so that I'm not potentially shaving off an eyebrow. A couple of tips on these. One, you can absolutely reuse these. Just make sure that you're cleaning them and disinfecting in between each use. I used this one last month when I did this. All I do to clean it off is kind of brush it with a paper towel to get any loose hairs off, and then I will spritz down with isopropyl alcohol. These, you're not shaving a ton of hair if you're only using these for your eyebrows, so you can get a lot of use out of these. The sharper they are, the better, because you don't want to cause irritation on your skin. Because with this, I like to go in downward motions. You're technically supposed to be going with the grain of the hair, but that's kind of hard to do when you're cutting in very specific areas of the brows. And for me, this kind of unibrow area grows in straight out, so downwards is fine, but you want to kind of hold the skin taut when you go down, and you don't want to apply a lot of pressure. It's very light pressure. You're just barely skimming the surface. Imagine if you were shaving your legs with kind of a straight razor or something like this. You want to be very, very gentle. So what I like to do first is the unibrow area, and what I'm going to do is follow the natural shape of my brow. So I'm really only going to go over here and just clean up the fuzzies here that can sometimes either catch in my brow products or that just kind of make makeup sit weird there. And I don't have to worry too much about you seeing these hairs on camera because they're blonde, but in person, in the right lighting, I get a full-blown little like puff of hair. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to hold it tight, and I like to do small little strokes. See if you can see. It's like I can see it flying in the wind. Then I like to go down, and I like to get kind of like right in here because I'm a very hairy gal, you know? And it's, oh, so much better already. I'm going to go down the center one more time, and then I'm going to do the other side. Do not go over one area too many times. It will cause irritation. And another thing is you probably need to play around with how your skin likes to be handled in this manner. For me, I did my skincare hours ago, and I have not put anything else on my skin. I like to have my skin as moisturized as possible before I go in and do this. You might need it wet, you might do it dry. It just depends on what your skin can handle, and this is what I've kind of proven out to be good for mine, but test that around. So then next I will assess if I need to clean up on the top of my brow, which up here seems to be fairly clean, and then the arch back is really where I have hair that grows a little wild, especially on this one. So let's do this one, which is much easier. So honestly, even if I don't necessarily need it, I can just go around and I just barely go right above where my eyebrow is. So I'm gonna just scoot there. And usually I hold my skin taut, but I'm also holding a mirror to do this. And then I'm gonna do the same here and go as close to the tail as I can get without chopping it. But this side is much easier for me. So then I'll look down into my mirror so I can get a really good view. And honestly, I'm never perfect here, but this is why I like this razor, because it's so small. I will take just the top edge and kind of run it down like that, just to clean that up. And there's like no hairs there. Look at that. And then if I have like stragglers down here, I will work to get those, but I'm not going to like, I don't strive for absolute perfection here on my channel or in life with this kind of stuff anyway. Because realistically, I am so sparse on this side that I just need to clean it up to a point where when I go in with a pencil and wax, it's going to look fine. And I also don't want to overdo it to the point where if I'm just sans makeup, I look like I have no brow. Like, you need to be able to see something, in my opinion. So let's go ahead and do the other side. Again, it's fairly clean up top, but I will just run this over to make sure. I have a lot of fine blonde hair. And this one gets tricky because, as you can see, my arch kind of stops here. And if we were to trace down, there's quite a bit of hair like here that does not fall into the shape that I want. But I don't want to take away too much because it's very easy on this side to kind of like cut off that arch. So the top here is fine, but I am very careful about this arch here on mine. So I'll go even further up than I did before. And then I'm just going to follow the same that I did on the other side. And I've gotten better at this because I've done it so many times, but once you get the shape that you like, it will be easier. And then, voila, much cleaner. And again, same here, we're going with the direction of the hair underneath. And I'm gonna grab a couple extra hairs out here. I'm so curious. I'm always curious what you can and can't hear on the mic. The ice cream truck is outside again. Okay, and then I'm noticing that there's like that one hair, but that's another thing, is this spoolie is so important to just like every once in a while go through and brush your brows how you plan on wearing them. Like if you're planning on wearing them brushed up and fluffy all the time, do that so that you can be kind of shaving and cutting in a pattern that's going to flatter that. This is the shape that I like, where I looked groomed without makeup, and then with makeup, it leaves enough of the outline to give me a guide on how to fill them in, and keeps enough hair there for the brow wax to be able to grab onto something. Brow wax, brow gel. I am actually going to go film a get ready with me kind of try on haul. I will be back to do my brow fill-in on camera because I do mine after I apply foundation. I will say, once you kind of do the shaving, test your skin first. For me, it's fine to now go in with moisturizer and makeup. No big deal, but test it first, you know? All right, I will be back when we do brows. Well, duh, I'll be back when we fill them in. Now that I have my base on, let's go ahead and start filling in the brows. So I like brow pencils. This is from Kosas, and I will link everything down below per usual. But one thing to mention is this is, I have no idea if I'm gonna be able to get this. Maybe. This is one of those kind of like half diamond shaped, triangle shaped, half diamond, triangle shaped, which I usually don't like, but I really like this one because it is stiff enough that it doesn't run wild from you, but it's also creamy enough that you don't have to like really tug on the eyebrows to get it down. I use the shade Taupe. It is my very favorite blonde color that I have found that matches my hair, excuse me. I don't think, if it has a touch of green, it's the tiniest bit, but it is like a very true taupe. So what I like to do when I am going to fill in my brows is using a clean spoolie. I'm going to brush them in the shape that I want them, which for me is up and over, basically straight across. And I like to start at the front bottom because you'll see that in my brow, I don't have a strong line because all these little hairs kind of end differently, and I'm not going to shave them straight across. I like to just go in and start to trace the bottom line of where that hair already is, like that. And then from there, I start taking my pencil from that line and flicking up with the thick side. So I'm using the whole length of that triangle shape. And I do that until I have my desired thickness. And then instead of coming along the bottom here, I actually move to the top because I want to make sure I get my arch. And again, I'm just following the shape of my eyebrows. And this is what I mean. This is what I love about this pencil too. You see I overdrew there. I just take my finger and blend it away. Saved. But I try to get as much of my natural arch in, and I'm following the hair that exists there currently. And I'm using the same pressure for all of this because we're going to go in with the brow gel at the end. It's going to define the individual hairs a little bit more. So then I'll start where we left off on the bottom and mirror that arch. And then if I see a spot like right here, I'll just fill that in. He's wilding out. Okay. Then I'll make sure that I have kind of a straight line down, and this is where I just kind of eyeball the shape that I want and make sure that everything looks good. Then I run my spoolie over it again to kind of like fluff out any of the hairs that might have gotten pushed down with the wax of the pencil, and also kind of straighten up the tail so that it looks okay. And then I'll look to see if I have any spots that need a little bit more. Usually I do go back into the arch a little bit because that's where my brow hair is a little bit more sparse and needs a little help. There we go. I'll look. Need to clean up that little line again. I just use my finger and wipe it away. That said, this brow will stay on all day. It's not gonna float away on you. Then I take my brow gel again from Kosas in the shade Taupe. And what I like to do here is using a colored brow gel because I want it to kind of coat the hairs and define them individually, but also add color to them individually, just so it doesn't look like I have block brows drawn on. And I just go over the whole brow, and I will comb up here just to get them like a little bit fluffier. And then I'll show you what I usually run into and what I do to get rid of it. Where that hair grows really long and is thicker than the other areas, right here will tend to grab a lot. So don't be afraid to go back in and clean up with that spoolie brush. And again, on these front ends, if you like more of a faded look, I like to kind of like drag my brush in or kind of squiggle it to blend that. And listen, I am not a brow expert. It has taken me a long time to recognize what shape my brow is and should be because I used to overpluck underneath quite a bit. That is what I do. That is essentially my entire brow. So I am going to buzz through doing this one on camera, and we will meet at the very end. All right, I'm hoping that Frank cooperates enough to film the last tidbits of this in the outro. Okay, he's been instructed to sit. We'll see how long it lasts. I want to say, a YouTuber on here that has amazing brow tutorials for whatever style you like is Alexandra Anil. I will link her channel below. She also had an amazing tip on her Instagram that if you do use one of these triangular angled shaped brow pencils, that an easy way to resharpen them, you'll see that mine is blunt because as I was trying to get Frank, I cannot. As I was trying to get Frank to stop being bad, which he is not, I accidentally chopped this off. So in order to get this sharp again, she recommends privileges have been revoked. Okay, what I was trying to film a minute ago is, there we go. If you accidentally chop your angled brow pencil into a straight across tip like this, what you should do is put it up just so you see kind of the tip of the corner that you don't want anymore, like so. And then you're going to take a paper towel and you're just going to rub the pencil along until it flattens out to nothing showing beyond the tip of the pencil, like this. And then voila, it is sharpened back to its original shape. So yeah, check out Alexandra if you are interested in all the different ways to style a brow. I hope that this was helpful. Again, I don't have very thick brows. I like mine to look very natural and much thicker and filled in because I do have the hair there. It's just very, very blonde. And these products are my very favorite, although I am playing around with a couple of others. But I would highly recommend these. And I really recommend that Tweezerman set, especially if you're someone like me who gets kind of longer brow hairs more so than like anything else. Especially if you have thin eyebrows, it's really gonna show. I know this looks like a lot, but I promise once you get makeup on, it looks quite natural. If you are unhappy with it, again, you can go in with this brush and kind of blend, flick away any excess product, and then brush them back into shape. But yeah, that's how I get my brows. I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments. If you have any requests for videos, I am working through my subscriber request videos as we speak. The Get Ready With Me actually covers a product that someone wanted a review on, or not a review, wanted a tutorial on. So let me know if there's anything top of mind down below. And I hope this was helpful. I hope you have an amazing, loving day, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye.